Will Campbell had an abysmal playoff performance. 29 pressures is the most all-time in a playoff run that he gave up. 14 is the most in a playoff game since 2018, which is what he gave up in the Super Bowl. No matter how we cut it, slice it, dice it, Will Campbell was bad. Just forget any excuse-making, discuss, whatever. Mm-hmm. He was bad. He played poorly. Sure, Jarrett Wilson shoved, got in his way, which led to one of the biggest sacks where everybody immediately started criticizing Will Campbell. That play wasn't his fault. The rest of them, yes. Campbell came out today and he pointed out, I'm not making an excuse. I'm paraphrasing here. He wasn't making an excuse, but he was dealing with ligament damage in his knee. Mike Vrabel came out today also saying he's not playing any other position but tackle for them. I think that putting him into this boat, forcing him to sink or swim, throwing him out of the boat rather, forcing Will Campbell to sink or swim is a misguided approach. I think that you need to look and reflect that the kid struggled and move him to guard. And if he really excels at guard and you can't figure out who's going to play tackle for you in the next couple of years, let him play tackle again. It is not a relegation. I am not saying bench the kid. Is it so bad for him to play guard? Zach Martin was an All-American tackle at Notre Dame. He was a Hall of Fame guard with the Cowboys. Why is it so harmful that the kid bumps inside?
He's not wide enough, first of all. Zach Martin was literally
not long enough to play tackle.
Okay, that's so scout.
How can you
so scout-minded? And
how can you say he's not wide enough to play one position when he's not long enough to play the other?
Because there are ways where he can get coached up and make up for the length stuff. He's not the first tackle.
He can make up for the lack of width at guard.
No, they're too big
for it.
Dude, what does he do if Tavondre Sweat is lining up on him on inside shade? He's got to go reach that guy. He ain't doing it.
What does he do if Myles Garrett's lined up on him on the outside? Oh, he gives up 4 sacks.
Yeah, that's a tough situation there with Myles. Look, a guy was injured. He was injured to bittens, and not everyone forgot about it. Here's something I have to say. Chris Collinsworth did this poor kid so dirty in the Super Bowl, where the first time that a pressure came down on Drake May, first time, he was like, yeah, Will Campbell's struggling, Will Campbell this, that. How about Will Campbell banged up, soldier, working off the knee injury and coming back and battling for the team? He got beat by a really good pass rush on that one. How about we layer it with that instead of, his struggles, his this, his that? Will Campbell's fine in my book. Will Campbell is a young tackle that got hit with a nasty stretch of defensive ends that exposed his raw flaws. And that would be actually something I didn't think he would struggle with, setup positioning. I thought he'd be better with hand placement and not be a double punch guy. That is not his forte. He needs to get better with the pit pat. Not a double punch guy. You're not long enough to be double punch and clench. He's a pit pat. Fight with the hands. He needs to get better at it. He's 22 years old, and he got smoked in the playoffs. All of this is agreed. He is not a guard.
He was the 4th overall pick. A guy who was drafted that early is supposed to step in and have a significant impact. I'd like to point out the 2 guys that I had ranked ahead of him in this past class. Mm-hmm. Tyler Booker had a better season than him. Kelvin Banks had a better season than him.
Mm-hmm. Banks was okay.
I don't understand how we can – what do you mean? He was the most successful rookie offensive lineman this year.
He was okay this year. I watched him.
I believe he had the best season in terms of, I'm going to go double check that, but Ryan's pointed that out to me multiple times that out of all the rookie offensive linemen in terms of pressures that they gave up, performances that they had, Kelvin Banks was the best of the group.
I thought Kelvin had a good to okay season. I thought
all based off of what?
Watching him play. Watching his foot speed, watching him lug those things around, which eventually is going to catch up to him. But he was fine. He was good. He was fine.
Okay. This is the general issue that I have with this is I feel like everybody is riding off of the success that Will Campbell had in college. And we're just assuming he's going to figure it out. I don't get how you can feel that a kid is going to be fine when he was historically bad. We're not talking about a player who had ups and downs and wasn't super consistent. He had the worst playoff stretch for a tackle that he possibly could have had. How are we expecting him to suddenly leap to getting better.
Who was the big fat tackle for the Panthers? The big fat right tackle that lost the game for them with Von Miller running him down. He was a big.
Wasn't the 4th overall pick.
Yeah, I gotcha. But I thought he had a worse game in comparison that versus Von Miller than Will Campbell had in this Super Bowl. Like if it's the worst of all time, it's fine. Everything's the most or the least or the worst or the best of all time. Now it just feels like how that's being graded. I don't think it was the worst performance down the stretch of all time. I don't. I think that
there's a number that goes along with it. You think I made that number up?
I'm not saying you made that number up, but I'm just saying I don't think all the numbers are going all the way back, grading every single performance from every left tackle since 1967.
So are you? I don't understand. I mean, that's just a crazy. So you're attacking the information, claiming that it's missing. There's missing
1,000%. Yeah,
well, you don't know that.
Believe that.
We know that he gave up 29 pressures. Forget if it's the most or the least. 29.
Yeah,
29 pressures.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
I would agree. That's a lot. Yes,
it's too many.
Yes, it's too many. But I've seen worse stretches from linemen in the playoffs. How they roll through.
How can you say that when he gave up 29?
Because they kept winning and they kept on moving, and I would watch him make blocks. I watch him fight through.
I would hope he make some blocks.
Yeah.
I would hope that he wouldn't just be a turnstile on every single play. Linemen don't fail every single play, but 29 is a lot. 14 in a Super Bowl.
You know what I saw? I saw that Drake May and that Sam Darnold had the same snap to release time in that game. One of them took 6 sacks. One of them took 1. So I'm not selling the quarterback down the river here, but there's something to it where one took 6 sacks, same 2.83 seconds of snap to release of the ball time. Why were they identical? Why did one have 6 sacks versus one had 1?
I think that point is separate from the conversation that we're having. We're not comparing Sam Darnold and Drake May. We're talking about a tackle who had a 4-game stretch where he gave up 29 pressures.
I think Drake May didn't get the ball out fast enough at times to account for pressures.
What would it take for you to move him inside? What would it take for you?
It would take a disaster year too, because at the beginning of the year, healthy Will Campbell, you know what I was doing in our little scout chat? Oh, I was rubbing it in. I'm like, oh, this kid's solid. This kid's holding up these defensive tackles, the defensive ends. He's doing great. I was gloating. Then he got hurt, and then he went out there and tried to take on a bunch of bull rushes with a bum knee, still bum knee, by the way. And it went pretty poorly for him. If he has a bad year next year, all 17 games. Then I would
17 games.
Like after 17 games, it's not going to be like, oh, he had a bad first 4. Let me move him in at week 5. No. It would take a full year of me watching him and watching him flop about for me to say, man, maybe you do move him inside.
But then it gets to the point where, 1, you're wasting time, and 2, if he has back-to-back bad seasons, he's officially entering the bust category. Again, a 4th overall pick lineman. Linemen are supposed to be more ready to compete right away compared to other positions. They're not expected to be all pros immediately. I'm not expecting that from him. But the way that he was billed was that of an otherworldly tackle prospect that was ready to come in, protect Drake May, set up Drake May to succeed and to play as best as he can. And if anything, Drake May was playing in spite of the performances of Will Campbell.
I think they were symbiotically at times negative towards one another. I'm not saying that Drake May didn't bail them out plenty. I think Big Will Campbell bailed them out some also.
What about center? Would you move him? Would you let him play center? He doesn't need to be as wide to play center.
I think he's got.
Brandon Thorne was saying
he's got the mentality. Here's the thing: the tricky thing about center is I think he's got the mental to play center.
He's smart. He's got great hands. He's one of the best hand fighting linemen that I've watched in the past couple of years.
I mean, I'm also looking at his body comp. Like, if we're going to get real nitty gritty here, he does not have the NFL muscle yet. He really doesn't. His arms are not chiseled. They're not beefy. His chest, not wide, not beefy. His back, not fully developed yet. Like, I'm seeing him and I'm like, man, couple years in that NFL training like an NFL tackle, I'm looking at a different guy. I really am. And I think he can tack it on. I think he can stay lean, stay fast, and just convert. It's a little doughy. Like I'm seeing a lot of my body comp in him, looking at his doughy arms. And I'm like, hey, would you commit and lift a weight, please? And that's what I need him to do. And I think they're going to do it. That's what Vrabel said today. Yeah, we're going to get him stronger. We're going to get him better. He had some plays that he wishes he had back. I thought Vrabel handled it like a pro.
We'll see what happens with Campbell. I still think that he's a guard.
I also don't want him talking to your boy, by the way.
Who's my boy?
Andrew Thomas. Saw that coming out that Will Campbell's phoning up that bum
what do you mean?
how to overcome adversity.
Well, here's the thing that Andrew Thomas can't teach him how to get longer arms.
That's true.
And Andrew Thomas has great length, and he's like he's the poster child for, hey, if we take this guy who struggled as a rookie, but he's got really long arms, he'll eventually figure it out.
If I could give Andrew Thomas half of Will Campbell's technique and poise, and Andrew Thomas could give half of his arm length to Will Campbell, they're both Hall of Famers right now.
You pointed out that Will Campbell's technique was bad.
It's not translating great for the NFL.
Thomas is better at technique than Will Campbell does.
No, he gets bendy. Thomas bends at the hips too much for my liking. Also, I feel like he's got big.
Will Campbell stands up too high.
I agree.
Which was something that, by the way, that's something that nobody's talking about. I still hate his stance. He's got a narrow base. He stands super high. That was a huge criticism of mine. Every offensive lineman that wanted to jump in and defend him said, well, it's just his stance. It's just how he operates.
Well, they're just letting guys do anything right now, by the way. And this is an offensive line rant. They're just letting these dudes do whatever. You sent me a clip of a right tackle, and he was just opening. He was his whole
Tiernan.
The purple jersey or something.
Yeah, Caleb Tiernan, the Northwestern kid.
His whole stance was just 45 degrees pointed that way. No, you can't do stuff like that.
Playing at Northwestern,
you can't do that.
I agree with that's the main point here. I'm sick of this belief that there's some sort of flexibility to playing the one position that I don't think there should be.
No,
you ever just kind of get bored and go down the rabbit hole of watching like clinic videos, coaching clinic videos of offensive linemen? You'll see some old grizzly dude who's saying it has to be done this way. You need to be set up this way. Your feet need to land here. Your chest needs to be in this direction. Like there's such refinement. I feel like nowadays you get all these personalized coaches and it turns into this whole, we just want everybody to be comfortable. I think at the end of the day, forget the arm length discussion. I think that Will needs a real stern, hey, you need to start this thing from the ground up because what you were doing in college, the shit's not going to work with your body type, and we need to drill everything down to the finest detail.
He needs to pop out to a 45-degree set. Here's what I'll also say.
I still can't believe he was going that vertical. It's insane how deeply vertical he was.
Look, it's NFL guys. You put an NFL guy in a wide 9. It's just hell. It's just really no fun for anybody because they're just going to run through your face, and they're going to run through everyone's face, but like 10 offensive tackles. I'll say this. In reflection, after this year's NFL draft, if you draft a guy whose face looks like mine, you're drafting him too high because Will Campbell and Mason Graham both had rough rookie years, in my opinion. And I received texts after each of them were selected. Congrats on getting drafted. Congrats. I hope you enjoy Cleveland and I hope you enjoy New England. If you're drafting someone that looks like this, you need to trade the pick. You need to not do it because you're in for a sorry first season. They're late bloomers. I can tell. I can see it, man.
Mason Graham's going to be fine. I'm not worried about Mason.
Why don't you move him to guard? He had half a sack this year.
Because he's a defensive tackle.
I bet he could play better guard. He's just sitting there slapping up. That's the conversation we need to have. What's the number of TFLs or sacks that Mason Graham has this year to prevent us from moving him to guard?
I have no fear about Mason Graham because Mason Graham, to me, has no physical outlier traits that he can't overcompensate for because a lack of length for him, he makes up for the fact that he's ridiculously flexible and he's quick. Mason Graham's going to be fine. I don't have to worry about Mason Graham at all.
I'm just letting you know.
I know you hate defensive tackles and you got to defend your guy. I get it. I totally get it.
Who was slobbering the defensive tackles today? Was it Jordan Reed? Somebody was slobbering.
I think it was Jordan Reed, which is true. I think that you undervalue defensive. Look, let's move on to this next topic. They're talking about Sam Darnold